Hey there, if you're watching this, you're probably interested in using AI to generate content for your business, most specifically for blog posts and social media posts. And in this video, I'm going to show you my content OS that I use for my business. If we haven't met before, my name's Andy O'Neill. I'm a YouTube creator, I'm a full-time freelancer, and I am a community leader at the Co-Build Collective. And I automate AI processes. I automate all kinds of processes, but especially AI when it comes to generating content for blog posts or social media. Now I want to show you a diagram I've created here, and this is an overview we're going to use to look at things today, and then we're going to jump over into my content operating system, and I'm going to show you how that works. I'm not going to go under the hood. If you've seen me on YouTube before, you may expect me to go under the hood and build stuff for you. This is more of an overview. What I'm about to show you is an extremely complex system, and it's not something that could be built over YouTube. I want to give you the option to watch this, check it out, and then join me and come in and use my system to generate content for your business. First of all, I want to start out with RSS feeds. So what are RSS feeds? In the context of our content operating system, that's the content that we get pushed to us from various sources. Now, some of those sources may be a WordPress or other websites that have an RSS feed. You may have competitors that you like what they do, or people that are adjacent to you, not really competitors, that we could actually pull their blogs in, rewrite those, and publish those as content. The other are blog posts. We can actually turn audio into a written transcript and then take that and extract keywords and write SEO blog posts and social media posts. And YouTube videos. YouTube does not have its own RSS feed, but there is a tool that I've used to generate an RSS feed from YouTube. It works perfectly. Whenever there's a new video, you get a ping, or your system gets a ping. You don't. Your system gets a ping, and it grabs the transcript from that, and then it starts breaking it into chunks. And those chunks are the different ideas and the concepts that were talked about in the YouTube video. And then we take those ideas and we find a semantic keyword for blog posts. And then all of this content can be pushed over to like a professional social media platform like LinkedIn or Facebook or others. So that's what the RSS feeds do. And if you're not familiar with RSS feeds, they're not very pretty. They're just a page of code with the content from one of these sources. I've got Discourse over here. Discourse actually uses RSS feeds, but a little bit different way. And so why do I have Discourse on this list of content sources? If you have a community for your niche, for your industry, Discourse communities are where people go and ask questions. All right. So my niche is using Make.com to automate businesses. Make.com has a community, and I actually watch that community for questions, and then I write blog posts from the questions that come from that community. All right. So if one person's asking it, what I'm betting is there are going to be other people that are asking that question as well. And I want to have an answer on my website. And then the other way we do this is with SEMrush. We'll go into SEMrush and we'll download like the top 10,000 keywords from your competitor's site. So what are the keywords that people are using to get to your competitor's site? We'll download that, and then we'll start writing your own content from those keywords on your site so you can start to get some of that traffic. And then the other one I use a lot, and this may not fit every industry, but this is Assembly AI icon, which is an AI note taker. And so there's a lot of AI note takers. I use this one because I can automate the transcripts of my calls into my content OS. And so I might talk about a topic, we grab a semantic keyword for that topic, and I can actually write a blog post, or AI can write the blog post for me based on something I said in a meeting with the client. This isn't personal data, this isn't IP or anything like that. It is just concepts that were talked about in a meeting. So those all go into my Content OS. And let me show you a little bit of results from that. So the Content OS, right now I'm outputting to WordPress posts and LinkedIn posts to my WordPress site. And I've got a Perplexity icon here, and I want to show you something cool. So I've gone over here to Perplexity, and I've done a search, how to use make.com webhooks. That is a search within my domain and within my expertise. And you can see here are the sources. And if we show all sources, make.com, TechFlow, YouTube, right here is Weblytica. How to use make webhooks. That is from my website. That is a blog post on my website. So what happens is people start using platforms like Perplexity to ask questions. Your site will be one of those sites that pulls in answers, and you'll show up in this list. You can see here, I'm right here. Your essential make.com automation guide for beginners. This was, I said, how do you use make.com? So your content, as you generate more and more relevant content, will begin to be pulled in ways you didn't imagine. I did not imagine that I would have my content pulled in and answering questions from my AI generated blogs through Perplexity. So it just raises the awareness. If somebody searches for this on Perplexity, boom, they're like, who's Weblytica? And they can click and they can go to my site. So the other thing I want to show you is my stats. And I will say, my wife and I own our business. I don't have an agency or a team. So you may look at these stats and say they're a lot less than what we have, or they're a lot more than what we have. The idea here is, how can AI make a difference in your web traffic? So let me jump over here to Google Search Console and show you that this is my data I'm showing you from my website, weblytica.com. All right, so you can see this is set for the last 3 months. In the last 3 months, I've had 5,700 clicks from a Google search page, or a SERP, to my website. And I've had 478,000 impressions of my pages in search. That is a huge awareness, and that is a click-through that is pretty amazing for what I do. So when we go back to the first 3 months of this year, I had 459 clicks. That's the first quarter of 2024. Okay. Remember, I had 5,700 clicks, so that's more than 10x the number of clicks to my site. And so I'm just going to show you the last, show you the last 12 months. All right. And so what you're going to see here is that what the difference is. I've been slowly and methodically publishing AI generated blog posts on my website. And this is the result. Yeah, my average click-through rate is 1.2%. I don't think that's terrible. Yeah, my average position is 32.4, which means I'm on the second page on average. But the reality is my clicks in the last 3 months versus the first 3 months of this year are more than 10x. And my awareness by showing up in searches is more than 10x as well. So this the scale of this may not match your industry. And quite honestly, I am in a niche that's fairly new. Using make.com is a fairly new thing. If I was a Zapier builder, which is another automation platform, the number of people searching for Zapier things is greater than make things. But there's a lot of more competition as well. So I just wanted to show you this and what can happen in a year's time to your traffic to your website by using AI automation to write blog posts and content for your website. All right, so that's the 30,000 foot overview. I want to jump over into my actual Content OS and show you how this works. So this is my content feeds. I only have 9 sources for content, and I say only. They're generating more content than I could ever publish. I actually get to pick and choose the stuff I want to publish on my website. And so I have some YouTube channels, So I have my YouTube channel, I have Jack Roberts' YouTube channel, and Nick Seriev. Jack and Nick are both competitors of mine in a way, but not 100%, but they are putting out lots of content that people are consuming, and so I'm bringing that in. I'm also bringing in Tim Ferriss's YouTube channel. He talks about a whole bunch of things, productivity and automation, but he also talks about stuff that's adjacent to where I'm at, and I don't use everything that comes through his channel. So let me just break down what's going on this page. So these 5 links here are the RSS feeds, the 5 RSS feeds I have for this. Now, one of those is the make.com community. Again, that is a Discord community, and it works a little bit different than a regular RSS feed, but it brings stuff in. When there's new information available, it gets pulled into my automations. That's a great thing about RSS feeds. This stuff's pulling in every day without me having to touch anything. So let's look at Jack's, this second line right here, and you can see I've pulled in 52 videos, and I have 1,110 what I call content splinters. What that means to me is I take a video and I have AI analyze it. And so Jack, when he does videos, he'll do an overview of what he's talking about. He'll talk about high-level concepts and business practices, and then he'll dive into the actual automation and break it apart. And so what I have AI doing here is taking those videos, taking the transcript and saying, how can we break this up into chunks? Because I don't want to get one blog post from a 40-minute long YouTube video. There should be multiple blog post ideas in there. So it pulls out many ideas. So the total splinters is 1,110. I've published 216, which is 19.5%. That's where I'm at with his content. Some of it doesn't apply. Some of it I just haven't gotten to yet, quite honestly. Right here is make.com app scrape. So this is scraped data from the website, and I've got 110 splinters, and I published 90 of those. I need to go back and do another scrape. This is just a portion of that data, but that's another source of data, is scraping websites. Let's go down here, meeting transcripts. So I have 1,042, and I've published 67, which is 6%. And then SEMrush keywords. I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the overview. I went and downloaded a list of 10,000. I have 8,300 pulled in here now, and I've published 512, which is 6%. If you look at my percentage of published and how many are here, and because content's constantly coming in, I have more content than I will ever publish, which is a really good thing because I can pick and choose. So these are the content feeds, and here's my total splinters. If I go over here to my content splinters, you see I have 18,466 that I can access. And so what I've done here is I pulled in the volume using keywords everywhere, and I pulled in the volume and the competition for the keywords. So you can see that the volume is basically 10,000 and a competition of 50%, which is high for inventory management software. So if I were to want to write a post about that, I would go over here and I would click approve. All right. And you can filter, you can search, like there's all kinds of stuff in here. You could search for CRMs. So let's say I wanted to publish a grouping of blog posts around CRMs. I could add a filter. I could go here to SEO target keyword, contains CRM, hit submit, and I have 281 that contain CRM. And what I'm doing with these is when I run them through the Content OS AI, the AI system that takes this and writes the blog post, I'm adding with make.com at the end of all of these. So I'm qualifying these keywords, CRM system benefits with make.com, because I want to force these through a grid that says this is make.com content, and I want you to write the content. I want the AI to write the content in such a way that it includes make.com. Okay. The other thing I do is I go through the Content OS is I have information about my brand, my company. I have information about my products. So I do one-on-one make automation coaching. We get on a call and we build automations together. I have a online community where we build automations with Make. And so I have that content inside the automation. So when the content is written, it also includes hooks back to what I do. It's not just a blog post about webhooks and there's no mention of Weblotica, my company, in there. So it is woven throughout the SEO posts when the AI deems it appropriate. And I've watched and looked at how it does it. It does a masterful job of doing this. So I'm going to go over here to website ready. What that means is I have published a draft post on my website and I need to go in and look at it and make it published. I do not personally, nor do I recommend for you to just push stuff to your website sight unseen. It takes me on average probably 60 to 90 seconds to review one of these and publish it. Sometimes it takes me a little longer if the AI puts some extra characters in there I have to clean up. But it is a very, very simple process when you consider what the alternative is. And the alternative is coming up with a keyword, figuring out what to say, like writing it yourself. Using this and spending a couple minutes on a post to get it out the door is a huge departure from where we've come. I'm going to click here. I'm going to open that in a new tab. And this is going to open my website. While that's opening, generally what I'll do is I'll go down and I'll click 8 or 10 of these. For me, I literally do this while I'm watching football or TV, or this is fairly mindless work. You do have to think a little bit, but not like writing a post at all. All right, so I've got a post opened up here. It needs a little bit of work. Readability, I really don't stress out over too much. My view of blog post in 2024 going into 2025 is they're hooks in the water. You think about fishing metaphor, they're hooks in the water. And people are looking for something and they find a blog post and they go to a website and they read a little bit, they scan over it, but it's like, let me go to the homepage and see what these people are about. So if the content looks like it's on target for what they want, most people are just going to say, hey, what products do they have? How do I get a hold of them? How do I buy? Whatever. What's the cost? And so that's my view of blog posts. Do I read and edit every one of these? No. I'll be honest with you, I don't. Do I look them over and make sure they're formatted and presentable and something I'd be proud to have on my site? Yeah, I do that. I also have run this enough with the AI I've got a lot of trust in the AI and I look it over, but I know what kind of content the AI is producing over time. And that's why I don't spend a lot of time reading these. So I'm going to go down here. There's a little formatting issue here I'll fix. Oops. I'm not taking up your time. All right, go right down here. Here's my focus phrase. And I need to make my SEO title and slug a little shorter. So I'm just going to take that out of there, and that's good. See, now we're green for SEO. That's all it took to make this work. String to work. There. So I got both of those where they're readable in Google search. Here's the desktop results. You can see. And it's ready to publish. That's all I do. Now I will go back and I've got those little markdown characters here that I'll fix real quick. Okay, those are fixed. It took maybe 20 seconds to fix those. And I'm done. You can see my SEO analysis is good. It's green. Again, I'm not worried about my readability. Most of the content that the AI generates has a good readability score. I choose to, I'm going to hit publish on this. I choose to write or ask the AI to write content in a 5th to 7th grade reading level. It's not because I think my readers are stupid and can only understand that. What it is, you may have seen that little flicker, that post disappeared out of my list. It got published and then it updates it. Sorry. When I go to an article, if it's written at college level, I can read it, but I don't really want to. I want to scan and get the answer I want. If it's written at a 5th or 7th grade level, I can scan it faster. I can read it faster. I've got a master's degree. And so I can read scientific documents if I want to, but I don't want to. because my brain's gotten lazy since graduate school, and I don't want to read scientific documents unless I am trying to find something medical or whatever, trying to research that. Otherwise, I want something super easy to read. I want to get my answer quickly because I'm looking for an answer because I'm working on something or trying to figure something out. All right. Again, 5th to 7th grade reading level, no technical jargon, to make it easy as possible to read so you'll get more of your content consumed. So that is the SEO blog post. I have a page here where I can pick and push this to Buffer, which is a scheduling tool for LinkedIn. But right now I have 1,585 posts that I used for blogs that I can also push to LinkedIn. So if I go back over here and I say keyword contains CRM, do that again. I've got 23 pieces of content that I've written a blog post about that I can now write a LinkedIn post about CRMs. Absolutely, there's more social media platforms that I could use. I don't typically find my clients on those others. It's usually LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's where you need to keep awareness up about who you are. So this is the overview of my content operating system that uses AI to generate content. Now, if we go back to this for a second, if you saw this and you're like, wow, how can I get there? I will tell you that right now, what I'm hearing from experts is you may have to spend $180 or $200 on a human to write you an SEO blog post. With that amount of money, we can write multiple blog posts with AI. And the amount of content I've published, this is over 1,000 blog posts in a 6-month period. Actually, it may be more than that now. It is more than that now. It was 1,000 a couple months ago. The idea of, can we add a blog post per week? Can we add 52 blog posts to our website in 2025? Sure. If you want to manually write those or pay somebody to write those, you can do that. Would you rather add 1,000 blog posts or 2,000 blog posts to your website in 2025? That's all the better. Because a blog post is hooks in the water. Back to the fishing analogy. It's hooks in the water. And the more, in my opinion, the more volume of hooks you have in the water, the more people will find you if it's written well, if the keywords are in there correctly, if the page is optimized correctly. More people will find you than if you add 52 posts a year. There are other side benefits. If I go back to this Perplexity screen, there are other side benefits of doing this. Right here is Nick. All right. These are YouTube videos, and he's got a very successful YouTube channel. But imagine when I go search for make, I see this is branding for him. This is huge branding for him. He's not paying anything to do it. I'm not paying anything to do it, to have this post right here. Okay. But what I've done is I've done the work to make sure this is optimized. Your EssentialMake.com Automation Guide for Beginners. That is an optimized title and a description. Unlike Productivity with our Make.com Automation Guide. When you go through the work to put those there, these things will surface in places you don't expect. And I never expected my content to be pulled up in Perplexity searches. But what this shows is when it does, Perplexity is looking at my website and my website content as an expert in the niche of automating with Make.com. What would it look like for your blog content to show up in Perplexity as an answer to someone's question? That's what I'm trying to get you to dream about. Think about what this kind of graph would do for your content. If I said, by the end of 2025, let's 10x the clicks to your website. Would that make a difference in your website? Would that make a difference in your business? I look forward to talking to you if you're interested in pursuing this. This is just an overview. There's more detail I can go into, but I'm passionate about this. I nerd out and geek out about this. I've been automating AI since November of 22 when it became readily available. I immediately wrote a couple books before people were writing blog posts about books. I started using AI to write content for my website, and over time I've improved the prompting and the process of writing those blog posts to where it is spot on, and a few times I have to tweak a little. But again, we're talking about spending 1 to 3 minutes to publish a blog post to your website. Unless you want to read every word, it might take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That is still a fraction of the time and effort and brain power to create a post for your website. I hope you'll consider this. Reach out to me and let's talk about how we can plug you into this content operating system to make your traffic look like this at the end of 2025.